What would you do if something started telling you exactly when the people you love are going to die? Not how, not why, just when. Down to the minute. And what would you do when you realized it's never wrong? This is the story of Marcus Rivera, a software engineer who thought he was losing his mind. Until the third prediction came true. And then the fourth. And then, it started talking about him. Marcus had always been good at ignoring things he didn't want to deal with. Overdue bills, his mother's calls. The strange dreams that had plagued him since childhood. But some things refused to be ignored. It started with a simple text message on a Tuesday morning. A message from a number that shouldn't exist, telling him something that couldn't be true. Marcus deleted it, blocked the number, and went about his day. Because that's what rational people do. But Mrs. Patterson died anyway. Exactly when the message said she would. Down to the minute. That should have been the end of it. But the second message arrived 3 days later. And then a third. Each one more impossible than the last. Each one perfectly, terrifyingly accurate. This is the story of what happened to Marcus. It begins on an ordinary Tuesday morning in Portland, Oregon. When Marcus's phone buzzed and everything changed. Marcus Rivera was eating his morning cereal when his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and saw a number he had never seen before. The message was short and strange. Your neighbor Mrs. Patterson will die Thursday, 3:47 p.m. Heart failure. I'm sorry. Marcus almost choked on his cereal. What kind of sick joke was this? He lived in a small apartment building in Portland, and Mrs. Patterson was the sweet old lady who lived next door. She always smiled and waved when she saw him in the hallway. She had a little white cat named Snowball. Marcus deleted the message right away. He blocked the number too. Some people had nothing better to do than send mean texts to strangers. Maybe someone got his number by mistake. Or maybe it was one of those spam messages, but a really weird one. He tried to forget about it as he got ready for work. Marcus worked at a computer company. He wrote code all day, which meant he told computers what to do. It was quiet work, and Marcus liked quiet. He had moved to Portland 6 months ago for this job. He didn't know many people here yet, and that was okay with him. On his way to work, Marcus saw Mrs. Patterson in the lobby. She was getting her mail from the little metal boxes on the wall. Good morning, Marcus, she said with a big smile. How are you today? I'm good, Mrs. Patterson. How are you feeling? Marcus asked. He looked at her carefully. She seemed perfectly fine. Her cheeks were pink and her eyes were bright. Oh, I feel wonderful. Snowball kept me up all night playing with a toy mouse, but I don't mind. At my age, I'm just happy to be alive and healthy. Marcus felt silly for even thinking about that stupid text message. Mrs. Patterson looked great. She was probably healthier than he was. At work, Marcus tried to focus on his computer code, but he kept thinking about the message. It was so specific. Thursday at 3:47 p.m. Who would make up something that exact? And why would they say they were sorry? By lunchtime, Marcus had convinced himself it was nothing. Just some random person playing a mean joke. He ate his sandwich and went back to work. But that night he couldn't sleep very well. He kept thinking about Mrs. Patterson's smile that morning. And her little cat Snowball. What if something really did happen to her? What if the message was real? Marcus shook his head. That was crazy thinking. People couldn't predict when other people would die. That only happened in movies and books. In real life, nobody knew when death would come. The next day was Wednesday. Marcus didn't see Mrs. Patterson in the morning. That was normal though. Sometimes she stayed inside all day. He heard Snowball meowing through the thin walls, so he knew everything was fine. At work, Marcus found himself watching the clock more than usual. He kept thinking about tomorrow. Thursday. 3:47 p.m. It was stupid, but he couldn't help it. When he got home Wednesday night, he heard Mrs. Patterson's TV through the wall. She was watching one of those game shows she liked. Marcus felt better. She sounded fine. Thursday morning came. Marcus woke up feeling nervous, which made him angry at himself. He was letting some random text message control his thoughts. That was exactly what the person who sent it wanted. He saw Mrs. Patterson that morning too. She was taking Snowball to the vet for a checkup. Just a regular visit, she told Marcus. Snowball is getting old like me, so we need to make sure everything is working right. Marcus watched her walk down the street with Snowball in a little carrier. She moved slowly but steadily. She definitely didn't look like someone who was going to die in a few hours. The day went by normally at work. Marcus ate lunch. He wrote code. He talked to his coworkers about boring work stuff. But as 3:47 p.m. got closer, he felt more and more worried. At 3:45 p.m., Marcus stopped working. He stared at his computer screen, but he wasn't really seeing it. His heart was beating faster. 2 more minutes. 3:46 p.m. 1 more minute. 3:47 p.m. Marcus held his breath. Nothing happened. He waited. Still nothing. At 3:50 p.m. he finally relaxed. It was just a stupid joke after all. He felt embarrassed for worrying about it. But when Marcus got home that evening, there were 2 ambulances outside his building. Red and blue lights flashed everywhere. A small crowd of people stood on the sidewalk, talking in quiet voices. Marcus grabbed his neighbor Tom, a guy about his age who lived on the 2nd floor. "What happened?" Marcus asked. "It's Mrs. Patterson," Tom said sadly. "She had a heart attack this afternoon. The paramedics tried to save her, but it was too late." Marcus felt the world spinning around him. When did it happen? Around 3:47, I think. Maybe 3:48. Poor lady. At least it was quick. Marcus couldn't breathe. The message had been right. Exactly right. Down to the minute. That night, Marcus sat in his apartment, staring at his phone. How was it possible? Who could have known? And why did they tell him? He thought about calling the police, but what would he say? That someone had sent him a text predicting Mrs. Patterson's death? They would think he was crazy. Or worse, they might think he had something to do with it. Marcus didn't sleep at all that night. He kept thinking about Mrs. Patterson's smile that morning. How happy she had seemed. How she had talked about Snowball getting old, not knowing that she wouldn't be there to take care of him much longer. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a terrible thought was growing. What if this wasn't over? What if whoever sent that message wasn't done with him yet? As if the universe was answering his question, his phone buzzed at exactly midnight. Another message from another number he didn't know. Marcus stared at the screen, his hands shaking. He didn't want to read it, but he had to know. The message was waiting. Marcus stared at his phone screen. The new message glowed in the darkness of his bedroom. Jake Morrison will die Sunday, 11:23 Uhr morgens. Car accident on Highway 36. He won't see the truck coming. I'm sorry. Jake Morrison. Marcus felt his heart stop. Jake had been his roommate in college. They hadn't talked in almost 2 years, but Jake was a good guy. He lived in Denver now and worked at a car dealership. How could anyone know Jake's full name? How could they know where he lived? Marcus jumped out of bed and started pacing around his small apartment. This was impossible. People couldn't predict the future. But Mrs. Patterson was dead. Exactly when the first message said she would die. He looked at his phone again. Sunday, 11:23 a.m. That was only 3 days away. Highway 36 was the main road that went through Denver. Jake drove on that highway every day to get to work. Marcus made a choice. He had to warn Jake. Even if Jake thought he was crazy, he had to try. He dialed Jake's number. It was late, but this couldn't wait. The phone rang 4 times before Jake answered. Marcus? Dude, it's like midnight. What's wrong? Jake, I need you to listen to me carefully. This is going to sound crazy, but someone sent me a message about you. A message about me? What kind of message? Marcus took a deep breath. They said you're going to die on Sunday at 11:23 a.m. in a car accident on Highway 36. There was silence on the other end. Then Jake started laughing. Are you drunk, Marcus? What are you talking about? I'm serious, Jake. Someone sent me the same kind of message about my neighbor, and she died exactly when they said she would. Marcus, listen to yourself. You sound crazy. Nobody can predict when people are going to die. I know how it sounds, but what if it's real? What if someone really knows? Just stay home on Sunday morning, okay? Or take a different road to work. Jake stopped laughing. Marcus, are you having some kind of breakdown? Do you need me to call someone? I'm fine, Jake. Please, Stay off Highway 36 on Sunday morning. I'm hanging up now. Get some sleep, man. And maybe talk to someone about this. The phone went dead. Jake had hung up on him. Marcus threw his phone on the couch and put his head in his hands. Jake thought he was crazy. Anyone would think he was crazy. But what if the message was real? What if Jake died because Marcus couldn't convince him? The next day was Friday. Marcus could barely concentrate at work. He kept thinking about Jake driving to work on Sunday morning. He tried calling again, but Jake didn't answer. He sent text messages, but Jake didn't reply. Saturday was even worse. Marcus called Jake's work and asked if he was there. Jake Morrison? Yeah, he's here. Who's calling? I'm a friend. Can I talk to him? Hold on. A minute later, Jake's voice came on the line. Marcus, you need to stop calling me. I'm worried about you, man. Jake, please listen. Just don't drive on Highway 36 tomorrow morning. Call in sick. Take a vacation day. Anything. I'm not going to change my whole life because of some weird text message. You need help, Marcus. Real help. Jake hung up again. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He kept checking his phone, hoping for another message. Maybe one that said the prediction was wrong. Maybe one that explained what was happening. But no new messages came. Sunday morning arrived gray and rainy. Marcus sat on his couch, staring at the clock on his phone. 11:20 morgens. 3 minutes. 11:21 a.m. 2 minutes. 11:22 a.m. 1 minute. 11:23 morgens. Marcus held his breath and waited. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. At 11:45 a.m., his phone rang. It wasn't Jake. It was a number he didn't know. Hello? Marcus answered. Is this Marcus Rivera? I got your number from Jake Morrison's phone. Marcus felt cold all over. Yes, this is Marcus. Who is this? This is Officer Sarah Chen with the Denver Police. I'm afraid I have bad news about your friend Jake. The room started spinning. What happened? Jake was in a car accident this morning on Highway 36. A truck ran a red light and hit his car. He died on impact. I'm very sorry for your loss. Marcus dropped the phone. He could hear the officer's voice calling his name, but it sounded far away. Jake was dead, just like the message said. At exactly 11:23 a.m. After a few minutes, Marcus picked up the phone again. The officer was still there. Sir? Are you okay? I'm here, Marcus whispered. Jake had your number written on a piece of paper in his wallet. You were listed as his emergency contact. Do you know if he has any family we should call? Marcus gave the officer the phone numbers for Jake's parents. Then he hung up and stared at the wall. 2 predictions. Both exactly right. This couldn't be a coincidence anymore. That night, Marcus tried to research the phone numbers that had sent him the messages. He used every website he could find. He called the phone company. Nothing. The numbers didn't exist anywhere. They weren't registered to anyone. But at exactly midnight, just like before, his phone buzzed again. This time, the message was about his Aunt Linda in Chicago. The aunt he hadn't talked to in 5 years. The aunt whose phone number he didn't even have anymore. Linda Rivera will die Tuesday for 17 p.m. She will collapse at the grocery store. Heart attack. The apples will still be in her hand. I'm sorry. Marcus stared at the message. Whoever was sending these knew his family. They knew his last name. They knew where his relatives lived. But this time would be different. This time, Marcus wouldn't just make a phone call. This time he would go there himself. He would save Aunt Linda, and he would prove that these messages could be wrong. He booked a flight to Chicago for Monday morning. He would find Aunt Linda and he would keep her safe. He had to. Because if he couldn't save her, then maybe nobody could be saved. And maybe Marcus wasn't just getting random messages. Maybe someone had chosen him for a reason. Maybe this was only the beginning. As he packed his bag, Marcus tried not to think about how the messages always said, "I'm sorry," at the end. Like whoever was sending them actually cared. Like they didn't want these things to happen either. But if they didn't want people to die, why couldn't they stop it? Why could they only watch and warn? And why did they choose Marcus to watch with them? The plane to Chicago felt like it took forever. Marcus sat in his seat, sweating even though the air was cold. Every few minutes he checked his phone. Tuesday for 17 p.m. He had to find Aunt Linda before then. When he landed in Chicago, Marcus didn't even know where to start. He hadn't seen Aunt Linda in 5 years. He didn't have her address or phone number, but he remembered she lived somewhere near the north side of the city. Marcus spent Monday night in a cheap hotel, searching online for Linda Rivera in Chicago. There were 12 women with that name. He wrote down all their addresses. Tomorrow he would visit every single one until he found her. Tuesday morning came too fast. Marcus rented a car and started driving to the addresses on his list. The first Linda Rivera was a young woman with 3 kids. The second was very old and spoke only Spanish. The third house was empty. At the fourth address, Marcus knocked on the door. A woman about 50 years old answered. She had the same dark eyes as Marcus's father. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Are you Linda Rivera? Did you have a brother named Carlos Rivera?" The woman's face changed. "Carlos was my brother. He died 8 years ago." "Who are you?" "I'm Marcus. Carlos was my dad." Aunt Linda stared at him for a long moment. Then she started crying and pulled him into a big hug. "Marcus, oh my God, look how tall you are. Come in, come in." Marcus followed her inside. The house smelled like coffee and flowers. Pictures covered every wall. He saw photos of his dad when he was young, photos of family members he barely remembered. "I can't believe you're here," Aunt Linda said, wiping her eyes. "I tried to call you after your father's funeral, but your mother said you didn't want to talk to anyone." Marcus felt bad. After his dad died, he had pushed everyone away, even family members who cared about him. "I'm sorry, Aunt Linda. I should have called you." "It's okay, honey. Grief makes us do strange things. But why are you here now? Are you in trouble?" Marcus looked at the clock on her wall. 2:30 p.m. Less than 2 hours left. "Aunt Linda, I need you to do something for me. Don't ask questions, just do it. Don't leave this house for the rest of the day." "What? Why?" "Please. Something bad might happen if you go outside." Aunt Linda looked worried. "Marcus, what's going on? You're scaring me." "I can't explain it. Just trust me. Don't go to any stores. Don't go anywhere." For a while it seemed like it might work. They sat in her living room drinking coffee and talking about his dad. Aunt Linda showed him old photo albums. She told him stories about when his father was a kid. But at 3:45 p.m., Aunt Linda got up from the couch. "Oh no, I almost forgot. I promised Mrs. Johnson I would bring her some medicine today. She's been sick all week. Can't you call her? Tell her you'll bring it tomorrow?" "Marcus, she's 90 years old and she lives alone. I can't leave her without her heart medicine." Aunt Linda was already putting on her coat. "There's a grocery store on the way to her house. I'll just run in and grab a few things too. I'll be back in an hour." Marcus felt panic rising in his chest. "Aunt Linda, please don't go." But she was already walking toward the door. "You're being silly, Marcus. I'll be fine. Make yourself at home." The door closed behind her. Marcus looked at the clock. 3:50 p.m. She had 27 minutes. Marcus ran outside and got in his rental car. He had to find that grocery store. He drove up and down the streets near Aunt Linda's house, looking for any store that sold food. There were 3 possibilities. He picked the closest one and drove there as fast as he could. He found Aunt Linda's car in the parking lot. Marcus ran into the store looking everywhere. He finally saw her in the fruit section, picking out apples. "Aunt Linda," he called out, running toward her. She looked up, surprised. "Marcus? What are you doing here? You have to leave. Right now. Drop everything and come with me." "What's wrong with you? You're acting crazy." Marcus grabbed her arm. "Please just come with me." Aunt Linda pulled away from him. "Get your hands off me. You're scaring me." Other people in the store started staring. A security guard started walking toward them. Marcus looked at his phone. 4:16 p.m. 1 minute left. "Aunt Linda, I'm begging you. Something terrible is going to happen." "Nothing is going to happen. You need help, Marcus." 4:17 p.m. Aunt Linda was still holding the apples when she grabbed her chest. Her face went white. She made a small gasping sound. "My chest," she whispered. "It hurts." The apples fell from her hands and rolled across the floor as she collapsed. Marcus dropped to his knees beside her. "Call 911, he screamed. "Someone call 911. People rushed over to help. The security guard started doing chest compressions. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes, but it was too late. Aunt Linda was gone. Marcus sat in the hospital waiting room, staring at nothing. The doctors had tried everything, but her heart had stopped too suddenly. There was nothing anyone could have done. That night, back in his hotel room, Marcus's phone buzzed. But this time it wasn't a new prediction. It was a longer message from the same number that had told him about Aunt Linda. "You tried to change things. You cannot. I don't cause death, Marcus. I simply see it. Death comes for everyone at their chosen time. Trying to stop it only causes more pain. Fighting fate is like trying to stop the rain with your hands. I know you don't understand yet, but you will learn. I'm sorry you had to watch Linda die. I'm sorry you couldn't save her. But this is how it has always been. And this is how it will always be." Marcus stared at the message for a long time. Then he typed back a response. "Who are you? Why are you doing this to me?" The answer came immediately. "I am someone who sees what others cannot see. And you were chosen because you need to learn how to see it too. There will be more messages, Marcus. Each one will teach you something new. Each one will help you understand. Don't try to fight anymore. Just watch. Just learn. That is all anyone can do." Marcus threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. But even from across the room he could see it light up with another message. This one was about his co-worker David back in Portland. And it said David would die in 3 days. Marcus flew back to Portland like a ghost. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Aunt Linda falling to the floor with apples rolling around her feet. At work, everyone could tell something was wrong. Marcus's boss, Janet, called him into her office on Wednesday morning. "Marcus, you look terrible. Are you sick?" "I'm fine, Marcus Lida. You don't look fine. You look like you haven't slept in weeks. And David said you've been staring at him all morning like he's going to disappear." David Chin worked at the desk next to Marcus. He was 25 years old, married, and had a baby girl named Sophie. Marcus had seen pictures of Sophie on David's desk every day for months. She had tiny fingers and a huge smile. "I'm just tired," Marcus said. "Take the rest of the week off," Janet said. "Get some rest. Come back Monday when you're feeling better." Marcus wanted to say no. If he went home, he would have nothing to do except think about Friday, 2:33 p.m. That's when David was supposed to die. The message said he would fall down the stairs at his apartment building. It said he would break his neck. But Marcus couldn't tell Janet about the messages. She would think he was crazy. She might even call the police. "Okay," Marcus said. "I'll take a few days off." That night, Marcus sat in his apartment, staring at his phone. Should he warn David? Every time he had tried to warn someone, it had made things worse. Jake had hung up on him. Aunt Linda had thought he was crazy. And they had both died anyway. But David was different. David worked with him every day. Maybe David would listen. On Thursday morning, Marcus called David. "Hey Marcus, Janet told me you're taking some time off. Are you okay?" "David, I need to tell you something. You're going to think it sounds crazy." "What is it?" Marcus took a deep breath. "Someone has been sending me messages about people I know. They tell me when those people are going to die. And so far, they've been right every time." There was silence on the phone. "David? Are you there?" "Yeah, I'm here." "Marcus, that's really weird. Are you feeling okay?" "I got a message about you. It said you're going to die tomorrow at 2:33 p.m. You're going to fall down the stairs at your apartment." Marcus, listen to yourself. Nobody can predict when people are going to die. I know how it sounds, but what if it's real? Just stay away from stairs tomorrow afternoon. Take the elevator. Or better yet, don't go home at all. David was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Marcus, I think you need to talk to someone. A doctor or something." "I'm not crazy, David. Mrs. Patterson died exactly when they said she would. And Jake Morrison. And my Aunt Linda. All of them died exactly when the messages said. Who is sending you these messages? I don't know. The numbers don't exist. I've tried to trace them, but there's nothing. Marcus, you're scaring me. Maybe you should go to the hospital. Just promise me you'll be careful tomorrow. Stay away from stairs. David sighed. Okay, Marcus. I promise I'll be careful. But you need to get help. Friday came like a bad dream. Marcus sat in his apartment watching the clock. He had called David 3 more times, but David wouldn't answer his phone. At 2:30 p.m. Marcus couldn't take it anymore. He drove to David's apartment building. It was a 3-story building with stairs on the outside. Marcus parked across the street and watched. At 2:32 p.m., David's car pulled into the parking lot. Marcus watched David get out of his car and walk toward the building. David was carrying groceries in both hands. Marcus rolled down his window. David, he yelled. Use the elevator. David looked around and saw Marcus's car. He waved, but he kept walking toward the stairs. The elevator. Marcus yelled again. Don't use the stairs. David stopped and looked at Marcus like he was crazy. Other people in the parking lot were staring now. David looked embarrassed. I live on the 2nd floor. David called back. The stairs are faster. 2:33 p.m. David started walking up the stairs. He was halfway to the 2nd floor when his foot slipped. Maybe it was water on the step. Maybe it was a loose piece of concrete. Marcus would never know. David fell backward. The grocery bags flew out of his hands. Cans and boxes scattered everywhere. David's head hit the concrete steps with a sound Marcus would never forget. Marcus ran across the street, but he already knew it was too late. David's neck was bent in a way that necks should never bend. His eyes were open, but they weren't seeing anything. People were screaming. Someone called 911. Marcus just stood there, staring at David's broken body on the stairs. The police asked Marcus a lot of questions. Why was he there? How did he know David was going to fall? Marcus told them he had been worried about his friend and came to check on him. He didn't mention the messages. They wouldn't have believed him anyway. That night, Marcus sat in his dark apartment. He hadn't turned on any lights. He just sat on his couch, staring at nothing. His phone buzzed at midnight. This time the message was longer than the others. You watched David die. You tried to save him, but you only made it worse. If you hadn't yelled at him, he might have been more careful on the stairs. But it wouldn't have mattered. Death always finds a way. You're starting to understand now, aren't you, Marcus? You can't change what's going to happen. You can only watch it happen. That's what you were chosen for. To watch. To witness. To learn that some things are bigger than we are. There will be one more lesson after this. One more death for you to see. And this one will hurt the most. Because this time it will be someone you truly love. Get ready, Marcus. The final lesson is coming soon. Marcus's hands were shaking so hard he almost dropped the phone. One more death. Someone he truly loved. Marcus didn't have many people left in his life that he truly loved. His parents were both dead. He didn't have a girlfriend. He didn't have many close friends. But he had one sister, Emma. She was 3 years younger than him and lived in Seattle. She was the only family he had left. The only person in the world who really mattered to him. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Emma Rivera will die Sunday, 11:23 p.m. She won't be alone. Marcus screamed and threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall and the screen cracked, but it kept glowing in the darkness. Sunday was only 2 days away. This time, Marcus wouldn't just try to warn someone. This time he wouldn't just try to be there when it happened. This time he was going to find out who was sending these messages. And he was going to make them stop. Even if it killed him. Marcus didn't sleep on Friday night. He sat on his floor, staring at his broken phone. The screen was cracked, but he could still see the message about Emma. Sunday, 11:23 p.m. She won't be alone. What did that mean? She won't be alone. Was someone going to kill her? Was she going to die in front of other people? Marcus felt sick thinking about it. On Saturday morning, Marcus drove to Seattle. It was a 3-hour drive, but he made it in 2.5 hours. He had to get to Emma before Sunday night. Emma lived in a small apartment near the university where she worked. She was a teacher who helped kids learn to read. Marcus had always been proud of her. She was the good one in their family. The one who helped people instead of hiding from them. When Marcus knocked on Emma's door, she opened it with a big smile. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" Emma looked just like their mom had when she was young. Same brown hair, same kind eyes. Looking at her made Marcus's heart hurt. "I needed to see you," Marcus said. "Well, come in. I was just making lunch. Are you hungry?" Marcus followed Emma into her tiny kitchen. It smelled like soup and fresh bread. Pictures of her students covered the refrigerator. Kids with missing teeth and messy hair, all smiling at the camera. "Marcus, you look awful," Emma said. "When was the last time you slept?" "I've been having some problems lately." "What kind of problems?" Marcus didn't know how to start. How do you tell someone that a mysterious voice has been predicting deaths? How do you explain that everyone you've tried to save has died anyway? "Someone has been sending me messages," Marcus said slowly. "Bad messages about people I know." Emma sat down at her small table. "What kind of messages?" "They tell me when people are going to die. And so far they've all been right." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she reached across the table and took Marcus's hand. "Marcus, that sounds really scary. Have you talked to anyone about this? Like a doctor?" "I'm not crazy, Emma. I know how it sounds, but it's real. Mrs. Patterson died exactly when they said she would. And Jake Morrison. And Aunt Linda. And my coworker David." Emma's eyes got wide. "Aunt Linda is dead?" Marcus realized Emma didn't know about Aunt Linda yet. He had been so focused on the messages that he forgot to tell his own sister that their aunt had died. "She died on Tuesday. Heart attack at a grocery store." Emma started crying. "Why didn't you tell me? I would have gone to the funeral." "I'm sorry. Everything has been so crazy. I can't think straight anymore." Emma wiped her eyes. "Marcus, you need help. Real help. These messages aren't real. People can't predict the future." "I got a message about you." The words came out before Marcus could stop them. Emma went very still. "What did it say?" "It said you're going to die tomorrow night at 11:23 p.m. Emma stared at him for a long time. Then she stood up and walked to her phone. "Who are you calling?" Marcus asked. "Dr. Martinez. She's a therapist. She helped me after Dad died." "Emma, don't. Marcus, you need help. You're having some kind of breakdown." "I'm not crazy." Marcus grabbed the phone out of Emma's hand and hung it up. "Don't touch me," Emma yelled. "You're scaring me. I'm trying to save you." "From what?" "From messages that don't exist." Marcus felt something break inside his chest. Emma didn't believe him. Nobody ever believed him. And tomorrow night she was going to die just like all the others. "Fine," Marcus said quietly. "Don't believe me. But I'm not leaving. I'm staying here until Monday morning." "Marcus, you can't stay here if you're going to act crazy." "Then call the police. Have them drag me away. But I'm not leaving you alone tomorrow night." Emma looked at her brother's face. She saw something there that scared her. Not anger. Not craziness. But pure terror. "Okay," she said softly. "You can stay. But we're going to call Dr. Martinez in the morning." That night, Marcus didn't sleep. He sat in Emma's living room watching the windows and doors. He had turned off all the lights so he could see outside. Every shadow looked like danger. Every sound made his heart race. Sunday crawled by like a wounded animal. Emma made breakfast, but Marcus couldn't eat. Emma tried to watch TV, but Marcus kept checking his phone for the time. As 11:23 p.m. got closer, Marcus made Emma sit with him on the couch. "Whatever happens," Marcus said, "don't leave this apartment. Don't answer the door. Don't go outside. Nothing is going to happen, Marcus." At 11:20 p.m., Marcus's phone started buzzing. Not with a message. With a call. From a number he had never seen before. Marcus stared at the phone, his hands shaking. "Answer it," Emma said. "Maybe it's whoever has been sending you these messages." Marcus answered the call and put it on speaker. A voice came through the phone. It sounded like static mixed with whispers. Like old radio stations bleeding into each other in the dark. "Hello, Marcus." Emma gasped. The voice was real. Someone was actually there. "Who are you?" Marcus asked. "I am the one who sees what others cannot see. I am the one who knows when the last breath will come. I am the one who has been teaching you." "Teaching me what?" "That death is not the enemy. That fighting fate only brings pain. That some things are meant to be witnessed, not changed." Emma grabbed Marcus's arm. She was shaking now too. "Why, Emma?" Marcus asked. "Why does my sister have to die?" "Because you need to learn the final lesson. You need to understand that even love cannot stop death. Even family cannot change what must happen. I won't let you hurt her." The voice made a sound like laughing mixed with crying. "I don't hurt anyone, Marcus. I never have. I only see what is already written. Emma will die in 3 minutes. Not because I will it, but because it has always been her time." "No," Marcus whispered. "Yes. And when she dies you will finally understand. You will stop fighting. You will accept your gift." "What gift?" "The gift of sight. The ability to see death before it comes. You've always had it, Marcus. Ever since you were a child. But you pushed it away. You ignored it. You pretended it wasn't real." Marcus felt something cold crawl up his spine. "That's not true. Remember the dreams, Marcus. The ones you had when you were young. The ones about people you knew. The ones that always came true." And suddenly Marcus did remember. He remembered dreaming about his goldfish dying the night before it happened. He remembered dreaming about his grandmother's death a week before she had her stroke. He remembered all the nightmares he had pushed away and forgotten. "I'm not like you," Marcus said. "You are exactly like me. The only difference is that I stopped fighting it. I learned to watch without trying to change things. And soon you will too." The clock on Emma's wall showed 11:23 p.m. Emma made a small sound and grabbed her chest. "My heart," she whispered. "Something's wrong with my heart." "No," Marcus screamed. "Not Emma." But even as he held his sister, even as he called 911, even as he begged her to stay with him, Marcus knew it was too late. Emma died in his arms at exactly 11:23 p.m. And as she took her last breath, Marcus heard the voice one more time. "Now you understand. Now you are ready. Welcome to your new life, Marcus. Welcome to seeing the world as it really is." The phone went dead. But the voice didn't go away. Because the voice had never been coming from outside. It had been coming from inside Marcus all along. Marcus sat in his apartment for 3 weeks after Emma's funeral. He didn't go to work. He didn't answer his phone. He barely ate. He just sat on his couch, staring at the wall. Emma's death had broken something inside him. But it wasn't just grief. It was something worse. It was understanding. The voice in his head was quiet now. It had said what it needed to say. Marcus was finally listening. He remembered more things from when he was little. The night before his pet hamster died, he had dreamed about it lying still in its cage. The week before his grandfather's car accident, Marcus had woken up crying because he dreamed about twisted metal and blood. His parents had taken him to doctors. They said he had bad dreams and an overactive imagination. They gave him medicine to help him sleep. They told him the dreams weren't real. But they were real. They had always been real. Marcus had spent his whole life running from this gift, moving to different cities, staying away from people, keeping his distance so he wouldn't have to see their deaths coming. But you can't run from something that lives inside you. On a Thursday morning, exactly 3 weeks after Emma died, Marcus's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, already knowing what he would find. "Marcus Rivera will die Tuesday 4:15 a.m. You will not be alone. You understand now." Marcus stared at the message for a long time. Then for the first time in weeks he smiled. Not a happy smile. A tired smile. The smile of someone who was ready to stop fighting. Tuesday was 5 days away. 5 days to figure out what "he will not be alone" meant. Over the next few days, Marcus tried to live like a normal person. He took a shower. He went to the grocery store. He called his boss and quit his job. He didn't need money where he was going. On Monday night, Marcus sat down and wrote letters. One to his coworker Janet. One to his old college friends. One to Jake's parents, even though he had never met them. He told them he was sorry. He told them he wished things could have been different. He didn't mail the letters. What was the point? Dead people don't need to apologize. Tuesday morning came gray and cold. Marcus made coffee and sat on his couch, waiting. 4:15 a.m. was still hours away, but he wasn't going anywhere. At midnight his phone rang. Marcus answered it even though he already knew who it would be. "Hello, Marcus." The voice sounded different now. Clear. More real. Because Marcus was finally ready to hear it. "Hello," Marcus said back. "Are you afraid?" Marcus thought about it. "No. I'm tired." Tired is good. Tired means you're ready to stop fighting. Will it hurt? No more than it hurt Emma. No more than it hurt any of them. Marcus looked around his small apartment. He had lived here for less than a year, but it felt like a lifetime. Soon someone else would live here. Someone else would sleep in his bed and eat at his table. Someone else would get messages on their phone and think they were going crazy. Are there others like me? Marcus asked. There have always been others. People who see what's coming. Most of them fight it like you did. Some of them accept it. A few of them learn to help. Help how? By being witnesses. By watching when someone dies alone. By holding their hand in the darkness. Marcus understood now. That's what not alone means. You'll be with me. I'll be with you. Just like I was with Emma. Just like I was with all of them. Were you really with them? I'm always with everyone when they die. That's what I do. That's what we do. Marcus felt something like peace settling over him. For the first time in months, his mind was quiet. The constant fear was gone. The need to run was gone. The guilt was still there, but it was smaller now. What happens after? Marcus asked. After, you'll understand everything. After, you'll see why it had to be this way. Will I see Emma again? You'll see everyone again. Mrs. Patterson, Jake, Aunt Linda, David, Emma. All the people you tried to save. All the people you couldn't help. Marcus started crying, but they weren't sad tears. They were tears of relief. I'm sorry I fought so hard, Marcus said. Fighting is human. Accepting is divine. You're ready now. Marcus looked at the clock on his wall. 4:10 nachts. 5 more minutes. Will someone else get messages now? Marcus asked. There's a young woman in Chicago named Sarah Kim. She's been having dreams about her neighbors. Soon she'll get her first text message. Soon she'll think she's going crazy. Will you help her? We will help her. You and me together. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. 4:14 a.m. 1 more minute. Marcus felt something warm spreading through his chest. It didn't hurt. It felt like going to sleep after being awake for too long. Thank you, Marcus whispered. For what? For teaching me. For showing me. For not letting me die alone. You were never alone, Marcus. None of them were ever alone. Death is many things, but it is never lonely. 4:15 a.m. Marcus closed his eyes and felt his heart slow down. He thought about Emma's smile. He thought about Mrs. Patterson's little white cat. He thought about all the people he had tried to save and all the people he would help save in the future. As consciousness faded away, Marcus heard a phone buzzing somewhere far away. A young woman in Chicago was waking up to find a message from a number she didn't recognize. Your neighbor Mr. Johnson will die Thursday, 6:22 p.m. Heart failure. He will be watering his flowers. I'm sorry. And somewhere beyond sight, beyond sound, beyond the world of the living, Marcus Rivera began his new job. He was a messenger now. And he would never let anyone die alone again. The circle was complete. But the messages would never stop coming.